Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Yes, I want to piggyback off of sports and fitness rants today and what he was saying because it's so ludicrous that Scalp Attack said that Kobe Bryant may be the greatest scorer of all time, and he said that without even stuttering or blinking. It's insane. It's really insane. We're going to go over a couple things that's not in this video as far as images. And then we're going to get into some of these images, which gets even more crazier, that Scalp Attack would say that type of thing. There's no comparison to Michael Jordan, and it's really his consistency as a scorer, right? Playoffs, finals, regular season, there's no comparisons, right? So just a couple of notable things that I wanted to go over before we get deep into this is the fact that Michael Jordan, we all know what he did in '88, why he averaged 35 points per game. What was it? Over three steals, like 3.2 steals, 1.56 blocks a game. Was the steals leader, was the defensive player of the year, was the MVP. What I'm trying to say is, for you to be able to do all those things on defense and then turn around and be that efficient on offense, what he shot like 53% for that season, it's just insane. It's insane. I don't think Kobe could ever do that. And not to mention, Michael Jordan did that in back-to-back seasons, because the season before, he scored 37 points per game. What was it? Well, I get you 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2.9 steals, and 1.5 blocks. So in back-to-back seasons, he had 200-plus steals and 100-plus blocks and averaged over 35 points per game. That's just insane. Okay, number 2. When we look at the 90s, that might have been the greatest big man era of all time. We talk about guys like Patrick Ewing, Shaq, Mourning, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Dikembe Mutombo, if I didn't say him, Rick Smits. You had guys like Cycli. You had guys like Divox. Not to mention your power forwards that you had, the likes of Karl Malone. Tim Duncan came in there later. Charles Barkley. You know, you could throw in guys like Kevin Duckworth. These type of guys. Mike, you're usually only winning scoring titles when you're more like of a center or a forward, shoot more efficient. That's when you're winning these scoring titles and things like that. I don't even know how many scoring titles, as good as Dr. J was at scoring, I really don't know how many scoring titles Dr. J had, if any, in the NBA. So my point is, I guess you could say Kevin McHale, but he was at the end. He was at the end of his wits. So basically, when we go from 91, 92, 93, and when he came back in the league, 96, 97, 98, he stopped all these big men from winning championships. And many people will say, oh, what big man did he go against? What I can tell you is he played a lot of big men in the East. Of course, in the playoffs, he didn't play those big men in the West. But when he retired in 93, who started winning? Well, Shaq went to the championship, and he played Hakeem. So big men were going to the championship game, and they were winning. When Michael Jordan left the league the first time, when he left the league the second time, who started winning again? It was big men again. You had David Robinson, you had Shaq, and all these guys. So big man did not win when Michael Jordan was in the league. And guess what? He's not a power forward. He's not a small forward. He's not a center. He's a shooting guard. Let me say this, and it might hurt some feelings, but it is what it is. We all know they changed the defensive rules when? In 2005. Basically into a no-touch era. these things were going to be called more often. In the likes of LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Carmelo Anthony, and these guys just start scoring outrageously now. Michael Jordan didn't play in no era like that. Not in the 80s, not in the 90s. They didn't play like that. Jordan didn't play in an era like that. So if Michael Jordan was to play from 2005 on in that Kobe era, LeBron era, you just can imagine how many points Michael Jordan would have put up, like 40 points per game in a no-touch era. That's just the facts. That's just the facts. Not to mention, Michael Jordan had the highest scoring average in the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, the finals, right? And in the regular season. In the playoffs, I think he still holds a record for the most 50-point games and 40-point games and 30-point games. Let me know if I'm wrong. That's what I thought. I know Kobe don't. Another thing is, and it's already been said, that Michael Jordan won the scoring title 6 times as he won 6 championships. I think Mike did it 3 times. I think Kareem did it like 1 time. Shaq did it 1 time. Guy from the 40s? Folks or something? I think he did it 1 time. That's incredible. Average 1.73s a game for his career. With 10 scoring titles. How insane is that? Let's look at this. When you look at this graphic right here, these are all the 60, 50, and 40-point games that Michael Jordan has without even attempting 1 3-point basket. Attempting 0. And I used to have this entire graphic, but it just became too much for me to, try to put it all on there. But most of these games are like insane. You got to see the percentage. You can look it up online. 40, 60, 50, 40, 60, 50, and 40-point games without attempting a 3, Michael Jordan. You can look that up on StatMoves. And go look at the field goal percentage. It's just ridiculous. We're talking about, I don't remember anything under 45%. Some of them was 48. A lot of them was 50%. A lot of them was 60%. A lot of them was 70%. It's just going to blow your mind if you look at it. Like, really? Now, what I don't like, and I'm going to tell you this right here, is when people dog out Kobe based on his field goal percentage because he played in a slower pace era. We can see in the second part of the 90s, especially in 97, 98, Michael Jordan's field goal percentage did go down. And everybody else's field goal percentage went down because it went to a slower pace, even in playoffs. Now, some people say you can say that Michael Jordan was older. I guess you can say that. I guess some people will say that Michael Jordan shot way more mid-range in the second three-peat, which he did, which that right there, I was finished. I was done. I never seen nothing like that in my life. Especially that 96 season. When they start tracking field goal percentage on charts. That's when they start tracking it in the 96 season. And that was spectacular. Nobody's ever had a season like that, I don't think, since. As far as from the mid-range. And the 3 was pretty good, but the line was in. But the mid-range, the man was just killing you. And there's some guys that went back and tracked unofficially his mid-range and his paint percentage. It was like in the damn 80s, one guy said. And his mid-range was above 50, like 55, 56, something like that. But, the NBA won't let you do that officially. Like Wilt Chamberlain's 8 blocks a game. They won't officially let anybody use that stat. But as far as Kobe, people like Gilbert Arenas, they say nonsense. Oh, Kobe was a Jordan 96, 97, 98, which 96 isn't bad. That was incredible. But, no, I don't think so. I give Kobe at least 91, 92, 93, Michael Jordan. That's what I give Kobe. And then later, I'm talking about when he was in his prime, and then I think later on, when he got out of his prime, I would say about 2000. I would say about 2009, maybe 8 to 12. I think he was 96, 97, 98, Michael Jordan. Now, 80s Jordan, no. 80s Jordan, he'll never see that. What Michael Jordan was doing in the 80s, Kobe can't even shake a stick at. Not only the points per game that he was putting up, the blocks, the steals, the rebounds, the assists, Kobe can't see that. That's where Michael Jordan made his name. Nobody will ever see that Michael Jordan. And he did the same thing in the playoffs. He did the same thing in the playoffs. That's why they say you make your name in the playoffs. Now, if he was putting up those stats in the regular season and went to the playoffs and fell off, they'd be, oh, man. He would have messed up his name. Another thing is, Michael Jordan was never outscored in the playoff series, except his rookie season by like what, a tenth of a point or something like that, by Terry Cummings. After that, it was over. Never been outscored in a playoff series. Another thing is, of course, not in the finals neither. Another thing is, he didn't need a great big man to win. And when we go back to the 90s, who was winning? Great big man when Michael Jordan wasn't on the floor or when he was retired. All-time great big man. Guess who needed that? Kobe did. Sorry, Kobe wasn't beating them Spurs. Kobe wasn't beating them Spurs. And without Shaq. He damn sure wasn't going to beat Sacramento without Shaq. He wasn't going to beat Portland. Who should have won that series? They was dogging Shaq's ass out all game 7. And Kobe did step up at the end. A couple of other guys hit some key shots. But Kobe don't get through that three-peat with Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen. He just don't. It's not going to happen. Michael Jordan didn't need a great big man to win championships. Even Clyde Drexler, he needed Hakeem. So those are a couple things I want to go over. Here's a couple other things. And I'm not going to look at all this. I did a video on this just to show respect to Kobe. But I want to look at this. Of course, we all know the scoring titles. And let me mention that too. A lot of people say, oh man, Kobe, he toned down the scoring just to win championships. Michael Jordan didn't need to do that. If Michael Jordan toned down his scoring, they would have lost. They would have lost. And I'm not trying to beat up on Kobe. Everybody wins championships in different ways, but I'm just saying. So Jordan had the 7 scoring titles straight. Right? What is 7 straight? And 10 overall. Kobe had 2. And I said this before. Michael Jordan wanted to be the greatest scorer of all time. And that's what he did. He wanted to be the greatest two-way player of all time. And most consider him. That's what he did because he was consistent in the regular season, the playoffs, and the finals. So let's look at this real quick. When we get down here, the seasons of 3,000 points in a season. Jordan has 1, Kobe has 0. 2,500 points in a season. Jordan has 6. And Kobe has 1. Thirty points per game in a season. Jordan has 8. Kobe has 3. And then when we go down to games, 80-point games. Of course, Kobe has 1. 70. If I'm not wrong, Kobe has 2. Jordan has 0 of those. 60-plus point games. Kobe has 6. Jordan has 4. 50-plus point games. Jordan has 31. Kobe has 25. 40-plus point games. Jordan has 173. And Kobe has 122. 30-plus point games, Jordan has 562, and Kobe has 431. So it's just not this. It's just not this. This is what Michael Jordan wanted to do. He wanted to be the greatest scorer of all time. So that's what he did. If Kobe wanted to be the greatest scorer of all time, I guess he tried, but he didn't succeed. He was one of the greatest scorers of all time. As far as like games, yeah, having like 30-point games, 40-point games, 50-point games, yes, he was that guy. He was that guy, but he wasn't consistent. You know what I'm saying? He letting Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Allen Iverson, Russell Westbrook, these type of guys win scoring championships on his watch. Michael Jordan ain't letting nobody win a scoring championship on his watch. He ain't gonna let you do it. It just ain't gonna happen. Even when the pace slowed down, he wasn't gonna let you win a scoring championship. And the guys that I remember winning the scoring championship in the 90s when Michael Jordan wasn't there, who was this? It was, I can't remember these names. Didn't Shaq win it twice? I'm talking about when Jordan retired. Each time he retired, when he was with the Bulls. David Robinson won it. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Shaq win in 2000? And I thought Shaq won in 95. I guess Karl Malone won one of those, right? 1 year, or was that the MVP? I know he won the MVP when Jordan retired. But if I'm not mistaken, it was Big Man. And then if I'm not, he let Allen Iverson win a scoring title in his era. Kobe did. So look, man, putting up games of 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, these are just games. But when you're able to put up 37 points per game, 35 points per game, 32 points per game, 30 points per game your entire career, I mean, that's really saying something. And when we look at this graph right here, 30-plus points per game in a season. Jordan 8 times, Kobe 3 times. I mean, folks, that ain't even really no comparison. That really ain't no comparison. If Mike would have never retired in 93, I think he would have had it in, I'm not sure. Did he average 30 points in no, I don't think he averaged 30 points in 95 in those couple months or whatever like that. But if he never would have retired, it would have been so silly. In 93, when he retired, his field goal percentage was almost 52% for his career. It's like 51 point something. It was just like ridiculous. Right? So if he would have never retired, his field goal percentage probably would have stayed about 51%, I think, even in that slower era. Because when he did retire in 98, his field goal percentage was 50.5. The same percentage that LeBron's field goal is today. And it took LeBron, 14 years before he got his field goal percentage up to 50%. Michael Jordan did that in a few seasons. And it also took LeBron 7 seasons before he even shot 50% from the field in a season. In a season. Michael Jordan did that in his first season. And, if I'm not mistaken, shot 50% or better 5 out of 7 years? No, 5 times out of his first 7 seasons in the league. But it took LeBron 7 seasons just to hit 50%. Goodness. And you guys talk about Kobe's 45% shooting from the field. Because the LeBron fans, they have something in their head that this guy was this shooter back then. He was not no shooter back then. He was just layups and dunks. in a league that turned into a no-touch era. I ain't gonna knock the man for doing layups and dunks, but he was never a shooter. That's why he would fade in those big games in the '07 finals, the '08 playoffs, '09 playoffs, 2010 playoffs, and then had to go build a super team because he doesn't got what it takes at the end of the game to hit those shots. He never had that, right? So banging on Kobe for shooting 45% in a slower pace era. Come on, man. It's ridiculous. Kobe will shoot LeBron's lights out. LeBron's not a shooter. He's really a running back with a damn basketball. Let's be truthful. He can get hot, hit some shots, and then we're back to layups and dunks, right? So Kobe still, to me, is the second greatest shooter of all time, behind Michael Jordan as far as shooting guard. But I mean, you can even say Durant. What's he got, like 4 scoring titles or something like that? I mean, he could contest Kobe for a better shooter now. Now, to me, this is what I think, and I'm gonna say this, and don't get offended. Kobe wanted to be like Michael Jordan so bad that he really didn't have to after 2005. And what do I mean? He was taking a lot of difficult, unbalanced, fadeaway, crazy shots for no reason. It was no reason to do this stuff anymore because the defensive rules were pretty much gone. Michael Jordan had to do this because of the defense, because he played against great big men. The paint was clogged up. All this stuff. Kobe didn't play in this era of great big man centers. You had a couple good power forwards, but no, nothing close that Michael Jordan played in the '80s and in the '90s. Nothing close. So Kobe taking these crazy shots, he really didn't have to, besides him showing off, trying to be like Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan wasn't taking these crazy shots because he wanted to. It's because he had to. It's because he had to score. He was going against a big man era. Kobe really wasn't. So you guys tell me what you think. After Jordan, I would take Kobe. I would take Kobe as a shooter, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. But Michael Jordan's pedigree as a scorer and as a shooter is just impeccable. We could just talk about all his scoring type of records in the playoffs, the finals, and different things, and you would be blown away. But I don't want to make Kobe look real bad because Kobe is great. But Michael Jordan was the standard, and he set the standard that nobody else will even come close to. Shooting 24 shots a game and hitting on 52, 53% from the field is insane. Pump fakes, up and unders, fadeaways, all this crazy stuff, while attempting 1.7 threes per game. Wow. Know how efficient you have to be? A lot of people won't never understand this, man. Yes, Michael Jordan had some bad games, but man, when this guy was on, it was no stopping him. And he wasn't a liability from the free throw line. You just never heard of that, right? Mike missing free throws at crucial times or scared to go to the line. Something like that. This guy was money. No matter if he was young or if he was old. He wasn't melting down in no series. We know Kobe melted down in a couple series. I won't say it's a big deal because there's been a lot of guys that melt down, superstars, all-time greats, in series. It just so happens Michael Jordan really never did. He really never did. So if you go watch their games, they're very similar. And like I said, Kobe, he'll never be the '80s Jordan. He just don't. No, he don't possess that. Michael Jordan, '80s Jordan was freaky. He was scary, stuff like that. I give Kobe at his peak, 90, 91, 92, 93 Jordan, which ain't bad. It ain't bad. And then Kobe when he was out of his peak in 08, 9, 10, or we could say 9, 10, 11, 12, I would give him, the second three-peat Michael Jordan. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because we all know that, Kobe out of his peak, he was more killing you at the mirror. It was ridiculous. It was just like seeing Michael Jordan all over again. And nobody really wanted to work on their game to emulate Michael's game like Kobe Bryant. You got to give the man credit because that's a tough game, man. That's a tough game because it came natural to Mike. Yes, he practiced and stuff like that, but his athletic gifts were natural. It wasn't like that for Kobe, his athletic gifts. So a lot of people wouldn't even try to emulate that. It's too hard. LeBron, he went and emulated the chalk toss and the jersey and, stuff like that. But no, no, it's too much it's too much to try to emulate that game. And we saw that from a long time ago, right? In the first repeat from Kobe. The first repeat from Kobe, he was all about playing like Michael Jordan. And he basically did all his career. But Mike was a level above that. Because Mike came in the league doing it when he first came in the league. Kobe, he didn't. The guy came out of high school. And the NBA was tougher back then. And I just got to go with Mike on this one. Just got to go with Mike. If you ever see them play, you're going to see the same style. Because a lot of times they'll show Mike in the 90s. But when you look at the 80s, Kobe ain't the 80s Jordan.